What's going on, guys? Today I will be talking about the Chicago Cubs offseason. As you may know, and most likely do know, I am a huge Chicago Cubs fan, and I'm just going to talk about their offseason as it's been pretty terrible so far, and I just want to talk about how absolutely disgusted I am with their offseason so far. By the way, there will be kind of a break in content next weekend as I'm going to Cubs convention, and I probably will be making a video about that. But anyway, let's get into this Cubs offseason and how terrible it's been. Starting off, going into free agency, they already lost their best hitter from last year, and that is Cody Bellinger, and their second best starter, which is Marcus Stroman. Despite missing a lot of time last year with the Cubs, Stroman was still pretty solid for them, starting off the year being one of the best pitchers in the league, and then declining very quickly, but he was clearly injured during that time, and coming back kind of middle of the road, even making some relief appearances. It was really weird when he came back. Really awkward how David Ross was using him, but still losing two very big players in the process of free agency. But then, right after that, some big things happened. The Cubs signed manager Craig Counsell. I was absolutely ecstatic, but of course, the one good thing that could happen with the Cubs, bad things had to happen even with the Craig Counsell signing, and of course with getting a brand new manager, they had to end up getting rid of David Ross, which is just an absolute city legend. He was a legend with the team as well, hitting a huge home run in Game 7 of the World Series, and of course, I was super excited they hired Counsell, but also very sad to let go of Ross. So like I said, of course, pretty much the only good thing they've done this whole offseason is had to come with big consequences. And then, of course, they started engaging in trade talks. They started to get in some trade talks and even some free agent talks for some big pitchers, which mainly the big free agent was Blake Snell. But the trade talks were mainly between the Rays and Tyler Glasnow and the Guardians and Shane Bieber and maybe even Josh Naylor. But the bad part was that be trading away Christopher Morel, who, like I mentioned, they already lost Cody Bellinger, their best hitter from last year. Christopher Morel, even though he missed the first 2 months of the season pretty much, was their second best hitter last year. At this time, it was kind of likely they were going to lose their two best hitters from the last year, but then they got heavily rumored to make some big moves, including potentially Shohei Ohtani, and then they were rumored to be out of the deal. But then Jed Hoyer said that they were not out of the deal, and by the way, this is a very small source that said this, but someone did say that Shohei Ohtani had signed with the Cubs for 12 years, $545 million. It was not a credible source whatsoever, and I'm pretty sure they might have even been joking, but it was said somewhere. And but anyway, Shohei went to the Dodgers, and so did trade target Tyler Glasnow, and then also the market for Shane Bieber and the Cubs diminished after that. So all of those things are very cool that it happened. So that's just amazing for the Cubs, and so everything just started spiraling downhill from then. They're very close to losing Bellinger now, as even though they have been the number one team in the running all offseason. At the beginning, it was the Cubs, Yankees, and Giants. Then the Yankees were most likely out after getting Soto and Verdugo. Then it was just the Cubs and the Giants. The Giants got Jung-Hoo Lee. They were out. Then it was the Cubs and the Blue Jays, with the Blue Jays being number one. The Blue Jays got IKF and Kevin Kiermaier. They're now out. The Giants are reportedly back into it. Apparently, maybe the Angels could be making a run at him. I don't know. But the Cubs have not made a significant move to bring him back because they are not willing to pay him $200 million plus, which I completely agree with. And Scott Boras is just being too greedy, and I think will eventually bring the price down to fit the Cubs, his and the Cubs wants to bring Bellinger back. But it's just been really rough so far. Before today, the Cubs were the only team not to add a major leaguer, and every other team added one at least like a week ago. But today they added one. Brian Serven of the Colorado Rockies. I'm going to go ahead and put his stats up on the screen from last year. They're absolutely horrific. He is not a very good player, and I'm not excited for him to join the Major League roster at all. It's not even announced that he will be a major leaguer, but he's joined the 40-man, leaving only 2 spots, which is great because we need way more than 2 free agent additions. So hopefully we can release him by the end of the offseason because we've added way too many catchers so far. He's the 3rd catcher we've added, along with already having Yan Gomes and Miguel Amaya, with a potential Pablo Aliendo, who's one of our top prospects, to call up next year. We now have 7 potential between our major and AAA team, which is, like I said, just absolutely amazing. Clearly, we're targeting catcher, which we don't need. We need first base and third base. By the way, if you haven't noticed, this whole video is just me ranting about the Cubs, and it's not going to be like a super long video. And like I said, it's not going to be very long because really fast, I'm just going to note every single player the Cubs have been rumored to get, and then I'm going to note the guys they've got. So how about I note the guys they've got first? So the only player they've added to the Major League roster is Brian Serven, which it's not even for sure that he will be added to the Major League roster, but it is likely. And they've also added 5 other guys to minor league contracts. Colton Brewer last year of the Yankees, Joe Hudson last year of the Mariners, Jorge Alfaro last year of about 16 different teams, Tom Pannone, who most recently pitched with the Brewers, I believe, could have also been the Blue Jays, which is who he came up with, and Ethan Roberts, who has only pitched with the Cubs in his career. You've probably all seen the clip of him crying after getting called up, but he was really bad for the Cubs and then got sent down and then had to undergo Tommy John surgery and did not end up pitching last year. So I'm not really stoked with those moves. And then here are the guys they've been rumored to sign and have not. Starting with the pitchers, Shohei Ohtani, who next year isn't going to be a pitcher, but is a pitcher, is a two-way player. They've been rumored to trade for Glasnow and Bieber, who we mentioned, sign Blake Snell, Shota Imanaga, who we are one of the 4 finalists to get him. Deadline is the 11th. I would be really happy if we got him. Jordan Montgomery, we've recently been added to the running for him. Sean Manaea and James Paxton have been smaller left-handed arms that we've been rumored to get. Rhys Hoskins, formerly of the Phillies, has been a big guy for us to get, and I do actually think we'll bring him in. Josh Naylor of the Guardians, like I said earlier, could potentially be traded to us. Matt Chapman has been a big guy that we could potentially get for third base because that's a big hole of ours. Jorge Soler was on our team when we won the World Series, but was never really good for us, but has been much better in recent years. And, of course, Cody Bellinger, who we have not yet brought back, but I do think we will bring him back. It's just been a very disappointing offseason for the Cubs so far, and we definitely need to do better if we want to try to make the playoffs next year, which I really hope we do as a Cubs fan. But anyway, that is the end of my Chicago Cubs rant for this offseason, and I will see you next time on Talking About Baseball. Once again, sorry for kind of the shorter video because I've been making long uploads lately. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time on Talking About Baseball. Bye.